This is 10 with Ken, a 10-minute interview series that's never 10 minutes. In this 10 with Ken special called Black Voices, I'll be speaking with prominent black leaders in Nevada to talk about who they are, their experiences as Americans and Republicans, and what matters most to them. This episode is an incredible conversation with Tony Lane, a local basketball coach who is also an unabashed patriot. He's running for U.S. Congress in Nevada because he's terribly worried about the trajectory of this country he loves. Enjoy. Tony Lane, so glad to talk to you. Thanks for making some time for me. I know you've got a busy congressional campaign, and I've been wanting to talk to you for a little while, and you're a busy man. I'm glad to hear it.
Likewise. No, I appreciate it, Ken. You're the man. You know, you and your family, all you guys do for the party. We're definitely great to have you here in Nevada, and I'm honored, to sit on here and speak with you today. Anytime,
absolutely,
man, anytime.
Absolutely, no, that's great. It's great to hear. Well, I want to start by telling people about you, and I want to know more about who you are as a person, Tony. So, Tony Lane, you're running for Congress for Nevada's District 4, but who are you? How'd you get here? All that kind of stuff. Tell us about you.
Well, I'm originally from Philadelphia, born and raised, single family home. My mother was my rock. My dad wasn't there. I knew where he was at, but he wasn't there, Ken, to tuck me in every night. My mother always instilled in my mind, you can be anything you want to be in life. So I really believe that. To avoid trouble, I played a lot of basketball, of course. I'm 6'6", so that explains me in my later career in life. But to avoid trouble, like I said, I played a lot of ball. I was fortunate to get a scholarship to Kilgore Junior College. So that's what helped take me out of the hard knocks of Philadelphia, remember? And one of the things about Philadelphia, I like a lot of people to know, is the city of brotherly love, right? The Declaration of Independence. There's so much inclusivity with the city of Philadelphia. You would think that we would have a lot more respect there, with some of the crime that's going on currently in our city. But hopefully they'll go red and get that situation straight. But, going to Kilgore Junior College, that's how I left Philadelphia. That's kind of where I found conservatives out there in Kilgore, because there was a lot of conservatives, of course, in Texas. A lot of the people would actually be praying on campus when we'll be walking around, to practice and just seeing people and everything. And I started learning, understand. So that kind of put me on that path then. But after Kilgore, I was fortunate to get a scholarship to come to UNLV. Billy Bano, he's seen something in me, of course. I was able to come to Las Vegas around in 95, got my criminal justice degree here at UNLV. And a lot of people don't know UNLV stands for You'll Never Leave Vegas, of course. So, of course, I stayed here and made Vegas my home, Ken. And then after basketball, after I got the criminal justice degree, I figured I'd probably go into law or something. But basketball was my calling and mentality. Everybody wants to go to that NBA. As a young kid in Philadelphia, that was definitely one of my dreams, is to go, hopefully go pro so you can take care of your family and everybody in the community. So I ended up going overseas after basketball with Lebanon, Cyprus, Argentina, many countries, learned Spanish, of course, which will help me in my congressional race, because over my 700,000 constituents in our district, we have probably 40% Latinos over there. And that is very important to be able to relate and communicate and speak with them. So after overseas, I came back to Vegas, of course, around 2008, real estate time, the market crashing, and learning a little bit of the option arm era and stuff. And what I actually did was started going into coaching. I figured I wanted to give back to the youth. So I've been coaching for years now and helped start a private school recently, but currently coaching at Desert Valley High School here, like I said, a local private school, and just giving back to the community as much as I can. And it was during coaching, Ken, I seen the parents' faces. I'm seeing the morale is down, wondering what's going on. And I started realizing that the media, the manipulation, right? The lack of leadership, CD4 lacked leadership. And throughout the pandemic, having children, of course, leading the nation in suicide rates. I'm jumping ahead here, but that right there in itself put a stake in my heart telling me, hey, Tony Lane, be the candidate you want to see. And I decided to run for Congress. And mentality at that point, there's no more virtual signaling our children, no more manipulation, Ken, no more unbelievable mask mandates. This is ridiculous. And we need our state back. So I stayed here in Nevada, Battle-born Nevada. This is my home, of course. I have my fiance, Ashley Henry, and my two daughters, Taylor and Rylan, and we've been here ever since. And like I said, Ken, this is Las Vegas. Remember, North Las Vegas, Nye County, remember the surrounding counties in our area. We deserve better than what's going on right now. And Tony Lane, hopefully, is that answer.
I love that, Tony. What an incredible story. And I want to start with basketball. I've spoken to so many people, especially you brought up the pandemic, of
Yes.
the impact of sports on, everybody wants to knock sports as it's just, it's a frivolous activity. Can you tell me more about how that basketball? I know you said it. Kilgore brought you out of that inner city Pennsylvania
Yes.
or Philadelphia. Tell me about that impact that basketball had on your life in the home that you grow up in.
Well, if you think about it, growing up, we had the Police Athletic League, which is something that's we have that here in Las Vegas and in Nevada, but it's not as huge in the basketball spectrum. The Police Athletic League took a lot of the young inner city children out of the communities. And it's crazy to think today that we're demonizing police as much as we are in the media, hoping that an incident happens with one of our fellow officers against a minority citizen, and they can blow it out of proportion and try to go win elections on that fact. It is unbelievable, the treatment that our current police officers are receiving. And that is one thing that I'll do in Congress. Is I'll make sure that we treat our police officers with respect. We're going to humanize them. We're going to take them over to the schools, let a lot of the children see them. We're going to actually get them involved in the police athletic leagues, which would help get the inner city children together, because it's important to note, Ken, that a lot of inner city children, just like myself, we lack fathers in the home. So that extension that you have from coaching, from basketball, being held accountable, that accountability, remember, together everyone achieves more, and that's very important. That's what keeps us together. You got to be eligible in school. So it's really a big group, and it's a serious thing. And I appreciate all the coaches in my path that have helped me get to where I am today. And that means disciplining me. Believe me.
That's wonderful. And I've heard nothing but that. And here in Las Vegas, we're very blessed to have a police department, in Metro that really has been a community policing organization for years, long before, that summer where we had, the George Floyd murder and things like that.
Yes. Oh,
Metro has been an example for a very long time. And I think we're very blessed to have a good police department here to do that. And that's great. I mean, I saw Police Athletic League on your bio on your website, and what a wonderful way for that community policing in your life as well.
Of course, and it took over the whole city. Police Athletic League was in Southwest, North Philly, West, definitely in some of the rural communities as well. They try to do as much as they can to unite us all, to bring us all together. Once again, like I said, to keep humanizing police, and it was way better times back then, and that's what we're trying to do again. Yeah. We're trying to make Vegas and Nevada great again.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony, so you came from Philadelphia, you went to Texas. I was going to ask where Kilgore was. I should know that, but in Texas. And so you came here to UNLV and played basketball, and you stayed. We all have. I'm a born and raised a Las Vegas kid, but I do know people come to Vegas, they're like, I'll come here for a couple of years, do my time, and then I'm out. And you stay, and it's a beautiful place to live. It's a wonderful place to live.
Yes, you never leave Vegas.
You never leave Vegas. That's exactly. I'm a UNLV grad myself, and so I'm right there with great. You. What have you seen here in Vegas that has changed, that has encouraged you to run for office? And first off, what brought you to stay? What kept you here in Las Vegas? And then what do you want to change, if you will? And I mean that in a nice way of that we need Tony Lane to be in Congress for that.
Well, my time here as a rebel was great, of course. The people, the community was great to me. They've opened their arms out, welcomed me into their homes. Once you know how it is, Ken, when you go to college, you start, that's really when you become an adult. And I grew up my adult life here in Las Vegas, and it is not a place, like I said, I could have seen myself leaving and leaving these wonderful people, of course, that took care of me, like I said, and that welcomed me into their lives. I know that this is a great state. Vegas offers a lot of opportunity. We have a ton of land. The potential is amazing, and the growth can be, it's endless. Seeing the development in Las Vegas is one thing as well. When you go inside of different communities, Southwest Vegas, they're growing rapidly. West Vegas, of course, definitely in my district in CD4, North Vegas, and some of the rural communities are heavily growing out there. The difference from before till today, when you're going in some of these parts of the district and some of the communities, you see the actual running down in some of these areas. You see how some of these areas have been forgotten about, right? Some of the community centers that are in some of the minority areas, some of them have great recreation centers that lack exercise equipment, lack TVs. People forget that these are places that these children go to if they have problems, if they want to actually escape the situation, if they want to just keep themselves out of trouble. A lot of these events currently in my district, with the homeless situation just currently piling up over here in CD4 over in North Las Vegas Boulevard, it is just, like I said, it's a disaster. And I would not want anyone to have to come see the beautiful experience of Las Vegas and the state of Nevada and have to leave with that mark, because that's not what we're representing here in the state of Nevada. It's just current leadership that are tyrants and are using their oppressive nature to just keep a stranglehold on us all. And once again, we got to get rid of that. Like I said, Nevada deserves a better leadership, and I think I'm the answer.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. And Tony, we talk about inner cities, right? And they are just havens for Democrat leadership. I mean,
Yes.
all across the country, you've got these cities that have been under Democrat leadership for some like Philly, decades. I mean, it's just been going on, and yet people don't see. That's the correlation, right? I mean, is that we have these cities that are just run by Democrats, and things don't seem to be getting better, yet they keep electing them in these urban centers. Yeah, go ahead.
The reason, Ken, is the media, right? Correct. They have a stranglehold of what's being seen, social media. Remember, we got fact checked on every single thing. President Trump, it was awful the way they treated him in the media. And as you see, bad and everything, but letting terrorists have Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts. Controlling that narrative really hurts a lot of our communities. Remember, they're sitting there salivating. The Democrats have it down to a science. And it's unfortunate because we do have some good moderate Democrats, some independents that have voted with the Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
We do understand that you guys are out there, and we appreciate all you try to do for our country. But understanding this administration is not the answer. They are not the moderate Democratic Party that you and I are both knowing and used to knowing. These guys are too far progressive. At the end of the day, they're bankrupting our economy, Ken, with all these crazy bills, wanting people to pass bills in 2,400-page bills overnight. It's just unbelievable. And I cannot believe that some of our colleagues have sided with them in this situation with allowing this infrastructure or these bills to just, to go through. But
yes,
the media, we're going to have to do something about that, once that Section 320, and we're going to revisit a lot of situations to help, just to help correct a lot of these fallacies going on with this crazy administration.
It's difficult. The media, I absolutely believe is a problem, and of course there are good actors in the media. I don't,
Yes.
Everybody takes this as I'm demonizing every single newspaper, every single media. It's not that, but it is the part of the problem that there is this control of. And it's little ways they shape the narrative, in a negative way. And I'm not saying that Republicans are free from making mistakes or should be given a pass. Yeah, listen, especially, even during the, President Trump's administration, no one is going to say that the president was, perfect when it came to messaging. No one's saying that. But
Yes.
But the passes that Democrats are given most of the time, and it's not just Democrats, passes that some of these establishment sort of, and it's a lot of Democrat Democrat politicians, they get these just gigantic. If a Republican politician did the same thing, it wouldn't be the same treatment. That's the problem.
Yes. You look at
yes.
With Hunter, President Trump, and you think about the debacles in Afghanistan. Wow.
Yes.
Milley, there was nobody that resigned just yet. Nobody resigns under President Biden. Nobody's held accountable for anything. So we really don't know who's running.
You respect Yeah, you respect their ability to stay in and not quit. No, it
Yes,
really is like this. That's what I want. I don't want Republicans to get a special pass. I don't want
yes,
Republicans to get. I don't want Republican media. I want media. I want one
yes.
that chases the Democrats as much as they chase the Republicans. That's all I want. And
Of
I feel
course,
like,
transparency.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I feel like you're right that that is part of why it just keeps happening. These cities are not getting better, and they keep electing the same type of
same
party, the same
person
type of people.
over and
That's right.
over again. And plus, they're taking
That's right.
away history in schools. Remember, it starts there. Our
Oh,
education system is a disaster. We're 47th through 50th. We actually, I think Mississippi now surpassed us here in Nevada. That's unbelievable, man. We can, I mean, come on now. Nevada really deserves better. Our current congressman is not even breathing the same air, drinking the same water we are here in Nevada. A lot of he's always adjudicating from his position. The border crisis, defund the police movement, not speaking out about that, morally lifting up our police officers as they go out tirelessly every day, effortlessly fighting for our lives. So all those things like I said, we really want to save our country. We really want to make this America what it is today. That's why so many people are trying to come here currently.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's a lot of people, we talk about California all the time as
Woo.
Republicans, and I see these people coming from California, and we write them off. But I think
Yes,
there's so many Californians that are looking for Republican leadership. They're looking for people that look like them and talk like them. And they
yes,
also are looking for people to, that are just going to treat them, as honest voters instead of, just demonizing these Californians. Oh, these
of
bad people
course.
coming across the border. No, they're honest families who maybe don't get the correlation though that voting Democrat is bringing the reason why they're leaving California.
Exactly.
And we need to make that correlation for them. I think that's a strong place to be. Is look at what look at what California's become. Do it differently here in Nevada.
Exactly. And we see with the homeless situation out there, the inflated prices, cannot even purchase a home. We welcome Californians, of course, but we want them to understand that we're trying to make Nevada red. We're trying to follow the Constitution, reread it. It doesn't need to be rewritten. These laws, everything that we have in place, they'll try to eradicate every single thing they can to have the power. And who I mean by they, I'm talking about the Democratic Party here in Nevada with the Democratic Socialists of Nevada. You now got two other groups within the party. So they're going to always be going at it, trying to actually even out their lines. And it's really a tough time for them. Virginia was great for us in helping set the
Yes.
precedent of what's to come. And hopefully a lot of Californians will see that. We really want to, like I said, we want to have a great life and all be Americans.
No, it is. It's that parental message. I think that education message that
Yes.
is a big deal. And Tony, you brought up history, right? And I want to bring that to you being a Black Republican. You're a minority in this party, and
Yes.
it shouldn't be that way. We
That's
need
okay.
as thousands more Black people to come and join the Republican Party and the party that will fight for them. But you
Yes.
brought up history. I feel like there is just this narrative that uh, you know that Republicans are not helping Black people. We know that in the Trump administration that unemployment was the lowest with
Of
Black
course.
Americans.
Of
We
course.
know that we are the party that will put money in your pocket and keep it out of taxes. Uh, I want kids to learn history. I don't want to bias history. I want them to learn the negatives of America, the positives of America. How
Yes.
did you break through that narrative? Whether it was at Kilgore or just in your
Mhm.
life, how did you break through that established narrative that Republicans are bad for Black people and become a Republican? Can you tell me about how you went against that narrative and became who you are?
Well, that started when President Trump started running for office. Actually, I was had a hobby running around with my film camera, Ken, and I was interviewing people, wanting to see who do you think we should elect? Is it President Trump or is it Hillary? And as I was doing that, I started realizing, like, hey, growing up in Philadelphia, not too far from Atlantic City, New Jersey, everybody glorified President Trump. Correct? They Trump. What I mean by glorifying in rap music and
Oh
songs,
yeah.
because he was the first billionaire we all knew in the neighborhoods. People would save money just to go to his casinos, bus excursions, a ton of things. So he wasn't this big bad orange guy back in the day, Ken, believe me, until he started running for office. And he
Oh
had
sure,
also
absolutely.
Yeah, and he also endorsed the network marketing company that I was a part of, ACN. So that was
Oh, wow.
huge, knowing that he came out. He didn't have to do that, endorsing us. And if it was good for President Trump at the time, it was good for me. But talking to people, listening to how they felt about him, started understanding the points of our party, our platform, correct? When you think about it, Ken, there's 70, I want to go as high as 70% of the Black community are really conservatives. They just don't know it. It's just not put into their face from a point where you're actually speaking to them saying, hey, do you want stronger borders? They're going to say, of course. Do you want a right to bear arms? Do you believe in a Bill of Rights, that these amendments are there to protect you? They're going to say, of course. When you start explaining to them, teaching them, do you believe in God? Every one of them raises their hand. Of course. Well, then you're a conservative. Right. It's the history that has been taken out of the history books. Remember, they always want to start at about 1964, but they forget about the Great New Deal and back when Republicans started the Texas Republican Party. We have a ton of Republicans in the Black community. Now's the time. We just need to get more voices out there and let people know that there wasn't no big switch. There was a lot of big manipulation going on, and we need to come back home to the Republican Party.
Oh, that's good to know. That's a very good way to phrase that. There wasn't a big switch. Yes. There was a big, manipulation of the message on it. Yes, no, that's a fantastic way to put that. And Tony, what you're running for office, for this year. Tell me about your experience thus far. Right, we're now in a post-Trump era, right? And unfortunately, the president lost in 2020. What does it look like now? How are you getting your message to people? Tell me about your interactions, whether as a candidate or just as a Black Republican. What are those interactions like? And what can you tell our listeners about it?
Well, the interactions in the beginning, they was a little, people like, whoa, you're right. Running as a Black conservative, a lot of my Democratic friends who is not understanding what's going on. They may have felt some type of way against President Trump. And I agree with a lot of people. Sometimes I say, hey, President Trump's rhetoric wasn't the right rhetoric, but he was the best president we've had in a very long time. For the Black community, he was almost the best president we've ever had in the history of our lives. Sure. Electing President Obama broke us through a barrier. Dr. King said in 40 years he believed we would have a Negro president, and it happened. And President Barack Obama won't be the last. But President Trump done tremendous things for the Black community, and all the things that he wanted to continue to do for the Black community. A lot of those things I'll definitely continue on. My experiences, Ken, like I said, so far, it's been cool. More conservatives being able to see me now, come out and speak the message, letting them know that I could speak against a lot of the false narratives. I could debunk a lot of the critical race theory conversation because it's very divisive, and we'll talk about that soon. And just getting out there, Ken, it's exciting, getting on the trail, showing more people. It's not hard getting the message out now because there's a lot of problems currently going on with this administration. People are seeing it. They're starting to see the real Joe Biden. They don't see Kamala. So they see lack of leadership, open borders. 90% of America's fentanyl is coming from the southern borders. They see Russia sitting on the tip of Ukraine, right? They see China sitting and hawking Taiwan. They saw what Hamas did to Israel. These were all in a span of 10 months. They saw the outrageous spending. They see it currently going on. They see the tyrannical vaccine mandates. This is un-American. So me out talking on the trail right now is basically letting people know that, hey, I'm here to fight to bring the Keystone Pipeline back and restore all those 200 executive orders that he just got rid of so we can bring back, like I said, America's prosperity. So these people understand that now, and it's a better time on the trail today.
I think I agree with you on a lot of that. And I think you're right that the greatest thing we can do to, convince Black people, convince all minorities, Hispanics, Asians, whoever, is to look at Joe Biden and look at what is happening to the country. If you really start to, drill down on the crisis after crisis, whether it's Afghanistan, President Biden tweeted out, remember back during the campaign, he's like, I'm not going to shut down the economy. I'm going to shut down the virus. That has absolutely not happened. The virus is, and we can, talk COVID all day, but, things are not going the way that we were, not we, but voters were promised by Joe Biden.
Yeah,
And for those independent voters who maybe don't have a job right now,
I
maybe
know. It's,
or were laid off because of a national vaccine mandate, maybe were lost a family member in Afghanistan during the war. To see, there's just so many
yes.
constituencies that can look at Joe Biden and go, okay, well that's not what we were promised. Maybe I
Yeah.
didn't like the Trump era, but this is not this is
This is
not an
definitely not
improvement.
where it's promised. Like I said, he's definitely not a moderate Democrat the way that he operated on the campaign trail. We're at more risk today. Our national security is at total risk. I mean, we got
Yes,
thousands and
absolutely.
thousands of people flowing through the borders. And this is not just Latinos. Remember, Latinos make a great effort here in the United States. We have some great Latinos here in Nevada, and they give tremendous effort, and they will be a major voice this year coming up in 22 in the election. They don't even they're speaking heavily against this administration with this manipulation because you're tying them to all this craziness that's going on, and they're totally not a part of it. They believe in coming through the borders the correct way, through the process. And like I say, it is unbelievable. It has made us less safe. It has made us less respected nationally, and you can see that with him speaking, apologizing for America's clumsiness to other foreign
Yeah.
allies. This is just ridiculous right now, and we're actually a joke, a laughingstock. So we don't know who's running the country.
It is. It's been a difficult, transition from the Trump years, and like I said, I'm not somebody who was an initial Trump guy. I'm
10
open,
months,
very open
man.
about that.
10
Yeah,
months.
yeah. In 10 months,
Not
10
even a
months,
year.
you got
Not even a
me.
year.
Yeah, you got me looking back to the Trump era, with fawning over those times
We
when
were safer.
gas was cheap and we were. I feel like we were safer as a nation. I
Yes.
recently learned about. I don't know if you've heard of these hypersonic missiles that China's got and is working on. That is we are admittedly behind them on their technology. That's unheard of. I know that's not
They're
just a Biden problem, but it's festering now. It's just
they're trying to
we feel,
surpass
let's say.
us. And they're surpassing us in they're trying to surpass us in every single thing, and we continuously try to do business with them. Um, you know, we can't forget about what happened in Afghanistan, leaving those people like that, turning our backs on allies, the people that helped us, allowing China to go in and backdoor us and do business with China, right? So is Iran. We get it, they're taking our kindness for weakness, this administration's kindness for weakness, because that's all it has
Yes.
been. President Trump really put his foot down with these guys. We didn't even hear of ISIS. It seemed like the whole President Trump's, tenure when he was in office. Now we're doing negotiations. We're letting them take the lead, and it's just unbelievable. It's hard to even speak about it, to even think that we have a feeble president sitting in office right now that has no idea really what he's done to this country, and the people that are around him consistently side with that behavior, and that is currently what's going on here in Nevada.
Yeah, and it's that same, that Democrat leadership in D.C. is similar. We're seeing that same kind of, messaging here in Nevada. I feel like our, elected officials, all across the board in the state, we had to take a big loss in 2020.
Oh
Are
yes.
just it's a change of tone. The Trump era, and like I said, I'm not here to be the biggest pusher for the president or for President
Yes.
Trump, former President Trump. That's not what it's about. It's about what has changed since the Biden administration since President Biden came in, it took charge, and we're seeing that those same leadership here in Nevada. I feel like we just our congressional delegation, our all the prominent leaders are just not looking out for
Not
the regular people. They're not looking out for the middle
Yes, not
class.
looking out
It's
for their constituents. Look at our
right.
district, and we got 800,000 people in our district. You mean to tell me they're going to side with all this radical behavior going on? They want inflation, right? They want our Christmas presents sitting in the ports. We don't hear
Yep.
nothing. No, not one of our congressional leaders speak out about it. I get it. If you want, you may side with the president, but you definitely need to speak out with your constituents and talk to your district and let them know that, hey, you're there and that you're willing to fight for them, and you're not going to let a lot of this tyrannical behavior happen. Look at what's happening with jobs, with people who were there throughout the pandemic who sat on nurses, our healthcare workers. And you mean to tell me you're going to release these people now because they didn't get the vaccine, an experimental vaccine still? Now you want to vaccinate 5-year-olds when they're 0, 0, 0, so many, I don't want to go through the numbers, but it's unbelievable, how low the percentages are with them with COVID and dying. And I get it. There have been some cases, but this is, it's stronger than this. They have an oppressive Marxist ideology in mind, socialist agenda, and this is a constitutional republic, and America deserves better. And I'm going to continuously say that we're going to definitely make Nevada great again, and we're going to get rid of these people in 2022.
I mean, we saw, like you said, Virginia we saw people going, okay, I'm interested in that. I'm interested.
Yes.
It's difficult for me because I've talked about this with a couple of other guests. Like, freedom is so selfish to people now. They want, the left used to be nonconformist. They used to be about pursue your dreams, you have a right to freedom in your, in your persons and in your speech. And they have become so illiberal. They've become so against this, right to individuality, and COVID's a good example. I'm actually pro-vaccine. I think it's a beautiful scientific achievement. That's obviously my personal opinion. I think it's a beautiful scientific achievement for certain people that want to take it, and that makes them feel safe in their persons. And I'm for it. I took the vaccine,
Gotcha.
But mandating that and making it a condition to go to the grocery store, that's how it is in some states. You have to show your vaccine card to go buy groceries for your family. I just think we've taken it to a point past where it's gone past the point of keeping people safe. I want us to exit this pandemic.
Wow, and you that's funny that you said that, the grocery store. They're going to implement a lot more things. You see what's going on in Australia. I mean, this New World Order, we're trying to join in with that as well. Ken, a lot of these people are fed up with our elected leaders not following the Constitution. I'm not an anti-vax guy. I just believe in choice. That's all. Yes. Remember, just follow the Constitution, allow a person to operate through their choice, through their abilities to make an informed decision, and don't penalize people's lives and take away their livelihoods because of it. And that's currently what's going on all throughout the world. We see it in sporting events with Kyrie Irving, with a basketball player, with the Brooklyn Nets, who opted to not take the vaccine. And now, because of New York's tyrannical rules, he has to sit out because all workers in the state of New York have to be vaccinated. So all home games he cannot play, and the NBA has sided with that behavior. So that's a slippery slope because now they want to require all NBA players to get the booster shots by December. So you're going to see a lot of people start doing what Kaepernick did and kneeling and getting out of the NBA. And I don't side with what Kaepernick did. Believe me, I don't believe you should kneel.
Sure.
Getting your point across, not at all. But you're going to start seeing a lot of people join in to the fight with Kyrie to fight these vaccine tyrannical mandates real soon.
No, that's right. No, that's exactly right. I mean, and I want, I take the pandemic very seriously. I want, people to make the right choice for their families, but you're seeing these businesses having to comply with this federal mandate. And it just, if it were a Republican doing that, these Democrats would be as anti, but because it's their guy, it's very difficult for me. And it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yes.
They're just silent. No, absolutely silent. And it is wonderful to see, these Black Americans like Kyrie Irving and that other, I know who you're talking about. That one basketball player gave just an eloquent defense of a personal choice. Was that him? Yeah, just a personal choice for him. That's beautiful to me. And I, Black Americans have been on the forefront. Even look at Dave Chappelle. I'm not going to defend everything Dave Chappelle's ever said, but what a defense of the freedom of speech for him to, just say what he wants to say and give a reason why he's behind it. And the backlash on Kyrie Irving and the backlash on Dave Chappelle, it's unbelievable. There was another, there will be. No, it is. It's the beginning. And it's these prominent Black Americans that do that. There was another NBA player. I think he spoke out against China and their policy towards Tibet. It's wonderful.
Enes Kanter. He's a Turkish.
I think that's who he is.
He was
a Turkish
in his own country, could not even go back home, Ken. So yes, Enes Kanter, and it's amazing to think that his own country their oppressive stronghold that they're having on people over
Right.
there. So he's speaking out about it. He's been very adamant. And like I said, we appreciate people like him that's not afraid, to help fight for, people's lives.
It doesn't even matter about whether I disagree with them personally. We want that freedom to speak out, that freedom to do what's right for your family and for yourself, and it's great to see those not the Turkish player, but the other ones, these Black Americans fighting for those individual rights that I thought we were for. I thought that's what it was about. Is to make that personal decision for you.
They're seeing now, and you even see BLM going out there fighting, and because
right.
You see Black Lives Matter going out there, and Biden talked and he promoted Black Lives Matter, and when I think of Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. First of all, I'm not for a Marxist organization. I'm not for the destruction that was caused, that was attested to Black Lives Matter, Antifa, any of those type of groups. But even those groups, they see the manipulation. They see this tyrannical behavior going down by Joe Biden, and they're actually starting to come out and march alongside of conservatives. Because once again, if there's any member or anybody that's watching this video and you consider yourself being with Black Lives Matter, you do believe in God. You do want America to be a great country. You do want to have a great education system for the children and youth to rise up and be great people when they become in their adulthood. You do want prison reform for prisoners that do got to get released into society.
Yes.
Coming here into society with a form of accountability to learning and getting a job to better themselves once they're out here in society to help the recidivism rate. We do believe in lower taxes, right? These are things that, like I said, talking to the average common sense individual can, and they're all conservatives. And that's what we got to get back to, getting the message that's out there that people can hear and listen to. And they'll accept it. They'll accept it. They don't like this loony that's going on.
It is. And Tony, you brought up a point of, somebody put it this way, and I wish I knew who it was, but it was the Black Lives Matter organization, right? The capital B, capital L, capital N. That is so far away from, I am happy to say that Black lives do matter. I absolutely, Black Americans deserve, I would even go so far as special consideration. They, whether it's bringing them school choice, investing in Black communities, and I want all that. It's that organization, the capital BLM, the corporation, the Inc. That's the problem. They really are an organization that is made up of these. Absolutely right. Is that, none of us are afraid to say that Black Lives Matter. We're afraid of what that organization, the millions of corporate dollars that people put in, that's the problem. And the violence that was done in the name of, a terrible murder of a man, that's what we're against. We're not against investing in Black communities and giving them good schools and we're all for it, So I think it's an important distinction that you brought up, is the organization versus, that movement.
Versus just using words. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And Tony, I think, people like you bringing that message to people as a person and seeing that come from you, is going to help. And so can you tell me, we got a few minutes left.
Sure.
Can you tell me what are the pillars of your campaign when someone talks to you and says, Tony, why are you running, for Congress? What do you tell them? What's your speech to them? And what do you tell them?
Well, when they normally ask me why I'm running for Congress, or what are the issues that you're trying to tackle while you're out there in the campaign trail, and what will you do while you're in office? And one of the things I'll do is make sure we can fix a lot of the voting situations that's going on. They tried to pass this HR1, federalize all elections, they mail-in balloting, paper, just so many things that they could possibly do to stack the Democratic Party, to also allow more voter possible inaccuracies. I don't want to use the word frauds and everything, even though there's an asterisk attached to the election and everything that's currently going on. And we have some amazing people that are out there fighting every day, tirelessly, once again, effortlessly. They're out there consistently on the grounds, banging it out, trying to make sure that we have the safest elections possible. I also want to help our education system. We are not going to teach critical race theory here in Nevada. Now, a lot of people may hear this and say, well, that sounds like somebody else. They mentioned that. Well, because these are the things that are currently happening in our country. They are currently indoctrinating our youth, and this will affect the existence of our beautiful country, America. And we're not going to allow these things to happen. It's a divisive nature. It has no place in American schools. We're going to go back to teaching the Constitution, like I mentioned earlier. We're going to reread it instead of rewriting it. And that is a major point of mine. It's taking care of, like I said, our education system, especially here in Nevada.
And I want to pause real quick on that is CRT, nobody can describe it. Everybody can describe it. And nobody wants to admit it's being taught, but then they talk about how it is and it's actually a good thing. The messaging is crazy. When I was in school, which was, I graduated high school, gosh, it's been more than 10 years now, and same thing for you. You graduated high school recently, right? Too?
No,
something like that. No,
yeah, 90s.
No, I'm joking. But I want real history taught. I am okay with, learning about slavery and learning about, the oppression that happened. We're all for that. I want my kid to learn
about the Democratic Party.
They do. Yeah,
learn about the history of that.
That's
right?
what they say.
That's right. The first slaves through the Ivy Leagues, right? The transatlantic slave ship, who came over and got the slaves. Let's talk about Lloyds of London, who still operate today, who should have been on the first cancel culture list because they incentivized slavery by offering insurance to slaveholders. Ken, could you imagine that?
Wow.
Incentivizing slavery and still being in existence today. It's a major point.
Sure.
A lot of people don't know none of this history, and this is the type of history that if you could put it in existence, it would help shape a lot of the current events that are going on today. And this is not to blame any Democrat currently, because this is history. We get it. It's understandable. You get the right. That's a part of choice. You get the right to vote however you want to vote, get to join and be a part of whatever party you choose to be a part of. Just understand that this is America. We have a constitution. It's put here to stand the test of times, and it has. And if we can respect it and have respect for ourselves and God, then we'll lead ourselves in the right direction.
Part of that message is that America overcame slavery. We overcame Jim Crow. We evolved past that. We, as a people, overcame that and used our the power of people to overcome those evils of the past. And that's what I want. I want my kid to learn about the evils and how we overcame them. Not just the evil and how much we hate each other. It's terrible. So good. Yeah, exactly right. And so, we can go into voter integrity is another thing. I am another person that doesn't, we lost in 2020. The ballots, the mail-in balloting situation was terrible. It did allow, for, more instances of fraud. But I think we as Republicans need to admit that we lost and we just won. So let's focus on the winning that we just did. And what did we do right then? And capitalize that here. Let's focus on how we can win, not how we lost. And I do think we should focus on voter integrity. And I think it is not a crazy thing to request that someone have an ID to vote. Those are not crazy situations, and I agree with you.
And that's just the basis of it. I mean, who doesn't think that you should have an ID to vote? And that's primarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the common sense parts of voting.
Exactly.
Very important. It's one of the most pieces of things that in our American history that we have, right, to keep us intact. So we really want to take care of that. And
I want as many people to vote as possible. I want to enfranchise as many people as possible in the proper way. And so voter integrity, education, anything else.
And we want to make our country a lot safer. And what I mean by safer is protect our borders. There's a lot of terrorists that don't like America, correct? And these people are finding ways, once again, in this administration to currently try to get a step ahead. And with open borders, what can we do? There's nothing you can do currently going on right now. So at the end of the day, we're going to close our borders, right? We're going to finish the wall, or we're going to do anything that we possibly can in 22 to work with our leaders that are over in Mexico to help them as well, because you got caravans with thousands and thousands of people that are marching through that country. And there's a lot of things currently going on over there that we're not talking about over here because we have to focus on Nevada and America. But it hurts them as well having open borders. And at the end of the day, Ken, there's a list of things on my policy list because Nevada with what's going on with just in 10 months, we're going to need a whole new overhaul. We're going to have to get back to the previous administration with the Trump administration on how we were doing things and making Nevada, once again, leaders in the energy independence. Remember, we was dependent on our own selves, right? We brought our own emissions down, debunking a lot of the climate change situations that are going on currently. We got to get back to some common sense right here, because we're losing our country.
Excellent. No, I love that, and I'm when it comes to border security, I'm more of, we say open borders because the media has kind of taught us that. I want our borders to be open to people that want to work here and live here and be productive. I want to know who they are, right? I want to know who's coming here, and I want them to come. We want all of these immigrants to come, especially if their home countries are in terrible situations. But we need to know who it is, and we need to know where they are, and we need to know, that they are employed and have found a job. We've been taught that that's a bad thing, and I'm less of a wall guy. I think a wall, is very expensive, but I get the idea of a wall, right? Of securing the borders, not necessarily closing them, but securing them and knowing. That moving that stuff back and forth, moving people, moving products, good products, back and forth. That's what I love. I love that.
Of course. And I actually lived in Mexico. I lived there for years. Oh, wow. That's where I played professional basketball overseas. I love the community in Mexico. They were great to me. It is unbelievable the effort they give, like I said, and the Mexican community, and they're getting a bad name from these open border situations. And when I mean open border, I'm talking about lawless behavior. We're overflooding our border patrol. I'm talking about the manipulation that's coming from the media, not the everyday people that are coming across the border, not at all. And my words on the wall was already started. So if they could finish it, or like I said, do whatever they can possibly do, we'll work with the Mexican government to do what we need to do to take care of this situation. So if it's a wall or it's whatever we think we need to do, but we really want to help people out and get back to a better process. And we want to finish the DACA situation. There's so many things that needs to be done here in Nevada and here in our country that we need priority on. But every day, like I said, it's breaking news, trying to figure out what's happening next with Crazy Joe.
Yeah. And we're focusing on, things like infrastructure instead of focusing. And listen, infrastructure is important, but there are 16 other crises that that the country needs to address before we, pass a massive infrastructure bill.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Let's solve COVID first before we move forward.
And that's on the list as well. I'm always definitely talking about that. That's right. Because when I'm having a conversation with someone about my policies, we got masks on. I'm like, could you move that a little bit, Ken? And can we talk and see that's what's going on? Yeah. So you're going to always hear me talk about that. Those are pretty much the top four. Definitely.
Tony, I thank you so much. I feel like we had a real productive conversation. You're an impressive man, and I want to, I wish you all the best of luck in your campaign for Congress, and your wonderful family, your business, or you're coaching it. Is it Desert Prep? What was the name?
Desert Valley Prep.
Desert Valley Prep.
Yes,
that's wonderful. Yeah. So wish them all the best. Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. As we round out, can you give us what's your final message to people? How can they learn more about you? Do you want them to visit your website? What do you want to say to visitors to do?
Yes, definitely. If you want to learn more about Tony Lane, or if you want to volunteer, you can go to TonyLaneForCongress.com. That's FOR Congress.com. I'm really interested in hearing from you. I would love to have some more volunteers. I definitely could use some more donations. As we see, the current incumbent is raising lots of money. They'll do anything they can to try to keep their dictatorship and that power over there. So I really have to crank it up and make some noise. But at the end of the day, there was somebody who broke a record and won with over a couple $1,000s in his account when it came to running, because people are that fed up. You don't mess with the school systems. And that's one of the things they're doing here in Nevada, is you don't mess with the school systems. Or Tony Lane and the rest of us, are my children's advocates, and many groups in Las Vegas, parent to parent, we're going to come after you. So at the end of the day, I would love to see you guys. You can go to Tony Lane for Congress. You can see me on Instagram at Tony Lane NB, or anywhere in the campaign trail. But I appreciate you, Ken. You're the man. Let's talk about you. Let's tell everybody that, Ken Minister has a wonderful family, your mother, the things that you guys have done and what you try to do in the party, once again, is really, it's motivating to us all, and we're going to continue to fight because we got people like yourself, and you're not going to let us not get out there and fight, Ken. And no, we got nothing but love for you, Ken, and the minister, and the minister family, of course.
No, Tony Lane, I appreciate that. It has been an uphill battle, my friend, in this state. Let me tell you, we're trying real hard, and this is a beautiful state that we want to see prosper, and we want to see. I know we all want that, and so it's just a matter of getting that done. So, Tony, thank you so much for your time. Before I let you go, tell your listeners, what are you reading? What are you watching right now? What's your favorite media you're consuming right now, and for people to know?
Well, I try to stay of course I check my Newsmax out, my Fox always, the basics, OAN, reading, we got Thomas Sowell. There's a lot of readings that could be done. I'm always in working on my mind, Ken, working on how to be a better person, how to communicate with people out there on the trail. Like I said, you can't escape the craziness going on with this administration. So it's always all over the media. But Thomas Sowell's a great guy.
Yeah.
Mark Levine, of course. There's so many people. Candace Owens at the end of the day. So I'm a student, and I try to sponge it all in, and I'm never going to stop learning. But my eyes is always on the street, and I got to stay cognitively aware, unlike Joe Biden and Kamala.
You're a news guy. I like that.
Yes.
Okay. You're on the, you're always watching your news and seeing what's going on.
I just catch up, when it happens and stuff. But like I said, Thomas Sowell, a lot of, Mark Levin, there's so much, so many things going on, so many great speakers, that are coming out with books, and you can't get enough of them. I read back in that Constitution again, right, Ken? Because we got to stay in there. I need to read the Nevada Constitution all the time so we can know exactly when they are infringing on our liberties. And a lot of other people do that as well. So
it's beautiful. Tony, thank you so much for your time, sir. I will let you go. God bless you, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too, Ken. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.